Hey, welcome to Ghostland Gaming. This video, we're going to go over changing up your loadouts. Recently was wanting to change up my loadouts, trying to freshen things up. It's a little stale, hadn't done it in a while, and went to do it and realized things had changed. I used to kind of rely on a few content creators. One, most of all, J God. I'm not sure most people are familiar with him, but he was doing all the legwork for everyone, doing the testing, uh, checking out the time to kill for each attachment, for each scope. Um, no telling how many hours he put into it, but then he would post his spreadsheets. Um, and it would tell you there, had all the numbers there. What was the best gun? What was the best attachment for each gun? Um, there was, uh, different builds. Just tell you everything. But I realized lately he hasn't been doing that. I think his explanation for it was because of the Vanguard guns. They went from, only having like five choices to now Vanguard gives you 10 choices. And it was probably just too tedious to do all the testing for 10 different attachments for each gun. Like he said, each gun was almost 10 different guns, depending on which attachments you added. So he kind of stopped doing that. He still puts out his videos every couple of weeks or months and puts his loadouts. But honestly, a lot of the guns he chooses are he'll have like three loadouts of sniper. I'm not really a sniper. I usually put one loadout just in case I'm feeling like sniping that afternoon. But most times I don't, unless sometimes on big maps I will. But anyway, I didn't want three loadouts um, of that, and he's not doing it as often because he's not been able to keep up. But we're just going to go over how to build loadouts, my process, the tools I use, and kind of the results I got from it. So we'll start with, I guess the process starts with the tools. Um, I'm using two different websites. I'll add them in the description. But the first one is warzoneranked.com. I'm sorry, that's wzranked.com. And that pretty much is the most helpful of the two. And the other one is warzoneloadout.games. So that's wzranked.com and warzoneloadout.games. So we'll start off with the WZ ranked. This basically takes everybody's KD ratio for each gun. So it's taking a moving average. It changes daily, but I've noticed usually the top eight guns stay the top eight guns for that season or that update, and they'll kind of fluctuate up and down. But usually it's like eight guns on the assault rifle, and for the SMGs, really, I only see about five that are really above the crowd. The rest of them, they start to fall off after five and continually drop off. And LMG, I'm not a real LMG. I know the Bren is a big gun lately. I still find it hard to use the side scope. It just doesn't feel natural. I lose a second or two, I know, every time I aim down sight just because I'm getting used to the side scope. Maybe it just takes playing with for a long time to get used to it. But my theory is I want a gun that's easy to use and is also effective. So some of these guns may be ranked higher than the guns I chose, but that's also what I use in consideration is ease of use. And a lot of these guns that I may rule out, it may be, like I said, a sighting issue, um, a movement issue, doesn't move well, or an ammo issue, doesn't have a big enough ammo capacity, that kind of thing. Just little things that may even move it down my rank according to their rank, but still be on my list. And I think the two that I remember that stand out for that are the Ram 7 and the AMAX. Both great guns during their time. They still make the top 8 now, but they're a little harder to use than, let's say, the XM4, the Automaton, and Cooper Carbine. Even the AK-47 Cold War is easier to use than those two, in my opinion. But we'll get into that. But this site, it breaks down SMG, LMG, AR, and you can even go over and see what perks people are having most success for, and it orders them in, its popularity, and then it also orders them in the KD ratio. Kind of look at both of those because sometimes if it's close, I'll go with the one that's more popular because I'm thinking there must be a reason, and if it's that close, I'll try it out. But I usually mix it up a little bit, and some of them I just don't go with at all, just because like High Alert is the highest rated for the perk slot 2, but I mean I almost always use overkill. I just think, to me, I'd rather have 2 guns than to have a better perk. That's just me. But I'll get into that in a minute. But the other site is the Warzone loadout.games. And it basically, the other site would kind of give you the gun that's the best, and this site may help you pick the loadout. Like you can it rank them, and then off to the side it said all builds. So when you click that, it's going to show you like a one that's better for sniper support, one that's better for long range. It give you about 3 different loadouts for each gun. But also, I forgot to mention, back on the wzrank.com, you can actually click on each individual gun, and it will go through each attachment and start ranking it by KD and popularity as well. And I kind of do the same with that. I kind of look for the one with the highest KD, that is also somewhat popular, top 2 usually. Because usually people are onto this. If they're picking it, there's a reason. It's not bad. So just something to think about. Try these 2 sites. But we'll get into the loadouts. All right, here we go. What I came up with, my top loadout ended up being, I like to call, always keep that top slot meta days ahead. Just thought it was funny. But what I came up with was the C58, which is one of my favorites. It's kind of, due to recent nerfs to other guns, it's kind of moved up the ranks, and I'm glad. I always liked using it. But looking at the data, pretty much all Cold War guns are built the same. AR wise, it's agency suppressor, task force barrel, axle 3x, axle arms 3x scope, and I actually like to use the green dot scope. You can go down to reticles. If you don't have it, it's the best one. It's just clean, very nice size, very clean. But that's pretty much personal preference. Then you go to field agent grip and the 45 round drum. Some people like to get the extra 55, the extra 10 rather. But to me, I'd rather have the better aim down sight and reload quickness. So maybe in quads you want to go to 55, but most times 45 is good. And the SMG I came up with was the well gun. And I've seen different kind of builds of this, but I was kind of going more with the hip fire. I don't really like to use SMG for, very long range fights. So this is more for going in to a building, being able to, you know, get more than one target, move, just a better movement uh, SMG. But I went with the recoil booster. That's going to give you the rate of fire. The Wilkie custom barrel. This helps with the hip fire a lot. You lose a little bit of recoil control, but like I said, I'm not looking to have really long distance fights with this. This is more of up close and personal. Slate reflector. That's pretty much what I've been using on most of the Vanguard SMGs, unless I go with a iron sights, which I'll talk about that on a different gun. This one here, a little more hip fire help, little movement as well. Then I like the Carver grip for hip fire accuracy, recoil control. This makes up some of the stuff you lost on the barrel. The 48 grip. I know a lot of people say go with the 64, but really it's night and day to me difference movement wise with the 64. I feel real heavy and sluggish moving around. Didn't seem to work out for me. Uh, and I have this gun built on a different loadout. But on this one, I have the hollow point. I was going to kind of test that out. It's between hollow point and incendiary. I'm going to see. I think the hollow point would be better for like a little further, mid range. Incendiary would probably be better for close range. Fabric grip. This is key. Aim down, sight speed, sprint to fire, and hip fire. I go with these perks for movement. I go with the acrobatic, and quick. So it's a lot easier with the Cold War and Modern Warfare guns. Got 5. These take a little longer, but in most perks, I'm going to use the EOD and the amped. EOD is going to help you from some of these, walking into a claymore or proximity mine. Won't do as much damage, and hopefully, I haven't checked, but I'm thinking it'd probably help with the incendiary rounds too. Always overkill unless I'm sniping or ghost, or unless I'm ghost. And amp, been trying that out later, a little weapon swap. I feel like I often get caught going from AR to SMG and that kind of thing. So I'm going to try the amp. It's ranked higher on the perks. KD. Going with the lethal, Simtax, and the heartbeat sensor. I don't know. It's hard to get rid of the heartbeat for me. Really like it. When you're going by buildings, you kind of just glance at it, and if you know somebody's in there, you and your team can catch them. Number 2 on the list is the EM2. I like it. It's a little harder control than the C58, but it's still good. Lots of damage, as you can tell. Let me check the other damage. Both dealing lots of damage. The C58, but I noticed it's a little harder to keep on target with this one compared to the C58. Same build as the C58. Going agency suppressor, task force, barrel, axle arms 3X. I use the green dot reticle. Field agent grip, 40 round instead of the, I think it's 55 again. 50 on this one for the same reasons. Aim down sight, reload quickness. That's that build. And then going with the Owen. This one is ranked high. It has an average kill KD of 1.34, as well as the well gun was 1.34. A little harder to use. But I'll tell you about this scope on it. It really helps. But I go again with the recoil booster, the shrouded. This really helps with your bullet velocity. And this is the most important to me, I found. The M38 Slate 2.5 Custom. It changes the scope from being a side scope, which the reason I wasn't using it to putting it back on top. You got to get used to using a little higher scope because I really don't like the when it switches to the slate because it stays on top of that scope instead of like some of the other hybrids where the other scope would just kind of move out of the way. So that's the only difference is getting used to that, but it kind of helps for longer fights. And when you're up close, you're just hip firing anyway because it's putting out lots of damage. But then you go with the removed barrel. This gives you a little bit more movement. You lose some control, but I like to be able to move with the SMG. The hand stop, that's going to give you a little bit more of the accuracy and counteract some of that recoil control you lost on the removed barrel. I like the 72 rounds. Gives you a little bit better fire rate, recoil control. Incendiary, I like to use this most time for the SMGs. Just feel like it really works up close. Fabric, this is pretty much must for SMGs. Aim down sight, sprint to fire speed, hip fire accuracy. And again, uses stuff to help with movement, weapon swap, movement speed, and then you get the click again. This is just going to help you move around a little better. And that's that loadout. Then we step down to the Ata. What is it called? I always have the hardest time with this. Atata Matan. Not easy for me to say. But this is the third best gun on my list. It starts getting close here. Some of the other guns are close, but this is just where I have it personally. Not there. The MK silencer. I like this one over the Mercury for this gun because this doesn't really have much recoil. So there's no sense in going with that one when you can go with that one. Some go with the what was it? The booster, but I don't like losing accuracy. I like this. Keeps you off the radar and puts them on the money. It's kind of what this gun does. And I go with the sniper for more accuracy, more velocity and range. I think that's a key. Keeps your damage from dropping off. I like the G16 2.5. Some people like the scope that has the 3 and the 6 that you can switch to. I find that I'm not really switching during fights. I don't really have time to think about that a lot of times. So I just go with one that I like and keeps it simple and you don't accidentally switch when you're not trying to. The padded is what I go with. This gives you a little more sustained accuracy during long fights, flinch resistant, more accuracy with the hand stop. This, this gives it an advantage here. You lose a little bit of movement, but I don't really move a lot with an AR. Noticed it got caught last night at Rebirth, cost me, but normally I'd have an SMG there. Lengthen. This is going to give you more bullet velocity, do more damage. Polymer Grip. This is for most ARs. You're going to get a little flinch resistance and accuracy, recoil during sustained firing. So basically, this gun is just built for lots of bullets, lots of accuracy. Could do a little better damage, but then it would probably be number one. But go with the tight grip, keeps you even more accuracy. I think that would be the only one I would use there. Fully loaded. It's nice to drop in once you get your loadout, have your gun fully loaded and your ammo supply fully loaded. It's a nice perk for the Vanguard guns. All right, this is my sleeper, the Lapa. I really, to be honest with you, I had it built up. I really didn't use it. I didn't think it was that great when I played with it in Cold War in the multiplayer, but I apparently did not have it built right. It's currently number 3 on the KDs for SMGs at 1.27. So I decided to try it out, and I was surprised. It's very good. Agency suppressor. It's a little different here than some of them. you go with this one because the rifle on this one gives you damage and fire rate. That's what the key is. You want to go with the rifled barrel. Some of the old Cold Wars, they do the Tiger Team spotlight, but I went with this build using the WZ ranked. It kind of told me what to use. Um, you really do need the optic on here, and I guess that's why you lose the Tiger Team, because the iron sights on this gun are not very good, and that's probably why I was not liking it in Cold War, because most times you don't add a optic to an SMG. At least I don't. Um, so that's the key. Go with the Microflex LED. Um, the Raider stop. This really changes the movement, aim down, sight, speed. So you're really getting a jump on people in it. And I'll show you in a minute. This is another one. The fire rate's increased, so you're going through the bullets. It's 45. So the fast mag, um, reload quickness. But look at the damage this gun puts out. For an SMG, that's pretty powerful. And you're putting out a high rate of speed. Um, yeah, high rate of speed and damage. I don't know what else you need in an SMG. Same EOD, overkill, amped, Simtax, heartbeat. Sometimes I switch these up, the bottom, but that's what I'm running with lately. Number 4 loadout. Going with the Cooper Carbine and the MP40. Cooper Carbine is currently ranked number 6, but I have it ahead of the XM4 and the CR56A Max. XM4 kind of fluctuates. It's a very easy gun to use, but I'll go over that one in a minute. But the KD on this one is 1.02. It's Vanguard. So we got another one. MK silencer. It's a pretty accurate gun, so I didn't need the recoil control. This is the barrel I go with. It's kind of high accuracy. This is another kind of like the automaton. Uh, it's pretty accurate, so you just want to build off that. Fire rate. This increases your fire rate as well, which is key. Same scope. I like it. I go with this one for more accuracy, for sustained fires. This one, the hand stop, for more accuracy and recoil control. Magazine, go with the big drum. Just felt like really needed it on this one. And it gives you aim down sight speed, fire rate. So we're kind of working on that, kind of being first and fast and taking them out accuracy. Lengthen, most time that's what you're going with on your ARs. Bullet velocity does more damage. Doesn't drop off, rather. Polymer grip again for more flinch resistance, accuracy, sustained fire. So that's most time what you're doing, unless you're doing the burst kind of firing, if long range. I went with this. They were saying to go tight grip, but I felt like the gun was already accurate. So, and I've got a few other attachments that are working on accuracy. So on this one, I went with increased torso damage. I think it's just if you hit them in the upper body, does, kind of almost acts like a headshot. Then fully loaded once again. The MP40, everybody's favorite. Let's see, is picked 16% of the time, which is by far. Let's see, the next gun is, I don't even see anything like over 10 or 5. So this is a favorite gun. I like it. I just don't like it as much as the ones I previously have up there. Recoil booster, that's kind of where everybody's going with on the Vanguard SMGs. Helps with your rate of fire. Lose a little accuracy. Going with this one, 317. Same reason. Accuracy, control. Um, then we're going with this one. This is an iron sight. Usually I go with a slate, but I noticed this one, this sight added aim down sight speed, and I figured what's better than being faster than somebody. And then I used the folding, the 33M folding. That sprint to fire, it's all movement. That's kind of what you're doing with the SMGs, looking for a stock that allows you to move around. This also adds aim down sight speed. Go with the 45 round Gorinko. More recoil control. And this gun kind of does move around a lot. For SMG, this is more aim down speed sight. Incendiary, I like it for close range. It was stippled because of the recommendation, and I guess they recommended it because this gun does move around a little bit, and this gives you a little recoil control on it. And try to unmark on this one because I didn't see some of the ones I normally use. Might want to use brace for more recoil control, but this one, since it has the booster, this allows you to be off the map. I figured not bad. It's kind of like using a silencer and using a booster at the same time. And then the quick perk just to move around a little bit. And once again, EOD, overkill, amped, Semtex, heartbeat sensor. All right, about halfway there. Next is the XM4. I moved this one up the list. It's actually already moved up the list itself, but I moved it ahead of some of the other guns. Excuse me, because ease of use. It's a very simple gun. It doesn't have. It says it's good damage. It doesn't feel like it's that much damage, but maybe it is. It's a good gun. Doesn't move around a lot, but kind of the Cold War build again. Agency suppressor, task force, the 3X scope, field agent grip, 45 rounds instead of the 60. 60's nice. It does to your mobility. It's already, slow anyway. It's kind of what I'm going with on those. And then one of my longtime favorites, the OTS9. It's ranked currently 5th. I personally would move it up to 3 in May eventually, but this gun is just, it's a rebirth must to me. I mean, the suppressor, task force, Tiger team. That's where we go with the Tiger team and no scope. The skeleton stock. Let's just see what the Tiger. This one basically makes it, gives you more damage and more velocity. Makes it lethal. This allows for movement, more movement with the skeletal stock and aim down sight firing speed. And this one just gives you a little bit better, to me, just moving around, and it reloads quicker, just feels better. And as you can see, it's got a lot of damage, decent range, fire rates doesn't change, but it's good. Mobility is awesome. I feel like I float around, rebirth with. And EOD, overkill, amped, Semtex, heartbeat once again. Like I said, I switched these up throughout, but I just kind of made them all the same for this video. And next is the AK-47 Cold War. It is currently ranked 8th with a KD of 1. I have it above the RAM and the AMAX for ease of use only. To me, yeah, it feels a lot like the XM4 with a lot more damage and maybe a little bit harder to use. So, you judge. They both do the job. One has a little more damage, more recoil. The other one has a little less damage, more accurate. But this one's the same Cold War build, suppressor, GRU suppressor. Uh, and the reason you use these is not only to stay off the map, but it adds a lot of stuff. Bullet velocity, damage range. And you add that with this barrel, which is like the task force for this kind of gun. And, you're adding bullet velocity, recoil control, damage range. I mean, both of those two together really make the gun more accurate, more powerful. Then you got the 3X again. The this is kind of like their other grip, agency grip. This is Spaznak grip for this gun, and then again the 45 round. Really good gun. Then again, I just built the well gun again. Same build. The only thing changed was the incendiary. I think the other one had hollow point. Just kind of testing that out. But once again, EOD, overkill, amped, Semtex, heartbeat. And then this one, I kind of have these two slots, but they're not set in stone. Like one day I may bring up an LMG. I don't have any LMGs in here now. Maybe make like a fun loadout, like a shotgun LMG or a shotgun SMG, something, or maybe specific for like Rebirth or specific for Vanguards. I like to leave like one or two of these that I may change, because honestly, after you get past your top 6 or so guns, there's definitely a fall off. Like right now, this coupe, they're all around 1. So we'll take a look at this one. It's an old one. It's the Ram. It used to be a favorite of mine back in the Modern Warfare days, Warzone days. They had a gun on Blueprint. It was good. I can't think of the name of it right now. But let's go. Monolithic support. Suppressor, I'm sorry. The FS Ranger. This just gives you more range on your damage. And this one, same thing, as bullet velocity, as damage. 3X, commando, a little recoil and aiming stability. And then the 50 round, because I don't know what it comes with, but I think it was like 30. And that's just not going to work in most cases. But really, it's kind of experimental. I've used it. It does a lot of damage. Let's see. Doesn't seem to do that much damage, but it looks like it's got a lot of range and a lot of accuracy, which I find that hard to believe, because when I use it, I feel like it has more damage and less accuracy. So maybe something to check out. May need to look at that one again. And once again, the Lapa. Love it. Try it out. If you don't, go build it up in Cold War if you need to. I think it's a must in at least one of your loadouts. And then again, I have this the AMAX paired with the OTS-9, same build for the OTS-9, so I won't go over that. This one kind of the same as a lot of the Modern Warfare guns. Monolithic suppressor, going with the Zodiac for more damage and range. The 3X, Endo, 45. And this is a pretty good gun. This used to be my favorite. It's got a lot of accuracy. Moves a little bit on the first, but then it settles down. It kind of jumps a little bit. And then, so once you get used to that, it kind of settles in. But the first shot or two kind of moves. But the damage on it, I felt like, and it may have changed. It looks like it has now. Maybe why it's dropped down the list. But that's kind of it. And I use a sniper. I go with the Swiss. This GRU suppressor. The combat for the velocity. Longer barrel. This one is kind of a different build. this gun gives you a little more aim down sight speed because it kind of helps when you're sniping because you want to get the jump on them. If they see you and you have a sniper before you can get the shot off, you're kind of out of luck. Bruiser grip. Uh, this is what I've been going with lately. Kind of allows you to move around a little better, but honestly, I don't normally move that much with a sniper. It's kind of something I'm using the other gun, and then I notice, hey, there's somebody over there, and then I'll pull it out, and I'm already kind of in a spot. So that may be something I changed later. Um, if you don't use a stock, you kind of get the regular sniper. It just comes with it, which is kind of why I do it because it's a decent one. I really don't like the uh, marker on it, the reticle, but it's nice to have these in different places. Might go with I don't know. Let me check this out and change the bruiser grip. But right now, that's the way I got it. As you can see over there on the left, has lots of range, good damage. It's usually one hit headshot, two hit body shot, and I have this paired up with the Cooper carbine, kind of built different for sniper support. We went with the Mercury on this one. The other one had the MX silencer. Um, just a little different and different barrel. This is more hip fire, closer range. Slate. The other one had a 2.5, I believe. This is more for a closer range. Skeletal, a little better movement. Because this is what I'll be using, like I said, and then all of a sudden I'll see somebody in longer distance and then do the weapon swap. So the hand stop for the accuracy, lengthened again, stippled grip. This helps with some recoil, and tight grip, fully reloaded. It's not bad. It's kind of like the Cooper carbine is kind of like a AR SMG hybrid to me. Depends on how you build it. You can build it for either, really. And I changed it up here a little bit. No, next one. I do lethal because sometimes when I'm sniping, I'm camping. So I'll kind of lay it down and then pick it up, kind of cover my backside, as they say. Uh, and then next is Ghost. I just went with the best gun. C58 is the best gun right now. So I built that in my Ghost loadout. Same build. Um, Same build as before. And then I just paired it with the RPG 7. To me, it's my favorite, unless you're going with something, this is for people, not for vehicles, unless it's like a, close range car, four-wheeler type thing. Um, I just have found when I had the amp, what was it? The amp 63. I had dual amp 63s before I just changed it. It was nice. You get it, until you found a gun. But really, I found myself most times I'm just dropping this weapon and picking up my SMG that I had before I got the loadout. So honestly, I may in game I might would keep that, because I'm Ghost and I could take out a team, last seconds of rebirth type thing. But most times I'm going to drop that anyway. But I run the cold blooded because I'm Ghost. I just like to use Ghost and cold blooded together. Double protection, I guess. Amped. Um, might change that one. Don't know. That's pretty good. And the lethal. Uh, might go ahead and change that to the Semtex. Because really in game, you're probably not going to be setting too many proximity mines. But really, that's my loadouts. That's how I built them. And another, going back to the Warzone loadout.games, if you find that build and you want some different options other than the other site that gives you more options. But I was going to give you some other ones that ranked high and I guess guns of consideration. Uh, really, I think that's it on the AR. I mean, you could go STG, might be, they still have the FFAR is one, the ASVAL. To me, that one had like uh, ammo issues. But really, the 8 guns I gave you on the assault rifles is where I would drop off. But SMGs have a few. Let me give you those. SMGs, ones I didn't use, the PPSH 41 Vanguard. It's a good gun. Um, the Sten, it's okay. Some of the Vanguard guns, they shoot well, but just getting over like the ammo coming out of the side, just my field of view has changed, and it just makes it different. And I haven't gotten used to that, so I would rather just use a gun that's just as good that doesn't have those issues personally. Um, the Milano, some people like. I haven't really used it that much. Mac 10, that's one of my favorites. It's a good close range gun. Even the old school MP5 Cold War is still hanging up there. And then it kind of starts to fall off. So that's kind of where I would do it. Well gun, Owen gun, the LAPA, LAPA, MP40, OTS 9, PPSH, Milano, Sten, Mac, and the MP5 Cold War. Um, but also LMGs to consider. The Bren is a high one. Like I said, I'm not using it because of the scope issue, side scope. And the Bruin, it's still viable. Um, I think you can build that Bruin with a 60 round clip, which makes it kind of move around like an AR, but have the power of an LNG. But that's kind of it. But that the WZ ranked also goes through your perks, gives you which ones people are picking most, having most uh, uh, having the most luck with, and also even your equipment. It tell you like I use the heartbeat sensor. I don't really go by the numbers in this one just because I'm a creature of habit. I like it. I like to know where people are. I don't walk around and just stare at it like some people do, but it's nice to me. And I find myself not using other things I'd have. I'd die and realize that, oh, I had a stun grenade. I never used it. Um, but the heartbeat sensor is not ranked very high, but I use it. The number one for that was the stem. I don't use it, and so I may start trying that out. It may be something you want to consider too. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. But I'm interested in hearing kind of what loadouts you're using. And I know season 2 is about to start. That's kind of what started this process. Um, as you know, guns are buffed and nerfed almost seems like every 2 weeks, at least every month. Things are changing. So you kind of want to check these websites out and see kind of what's moving and what are people having luck with. Because I noticed you can go to certain sites and see your stats. And I was climbing and going down. That's another time when I notice a dip. I'm saying, hey, something's going on. I'm not playing well, but I'll kind of go refresh things, kind of get a new set of guns. And usually there is a reason. Some of the guns I was using aren't as good anymore. But anyway, season 2 is coming up. We'll be doing this again soon once they make the changes. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.